Good morning. My name is Travis Angus, and I will be talking about why college student athletes should be paid. In 2009, the former UCLA basketball star Ed O'Bannon took on the NCAA in a lawsuit that challenged the organization's ability to profit from the likeliness of college athletes in a video game. But as the case heated up, its stakes and scope began to sprawl, opening a can of worms that threatened to upend one of the bedrock principles of college sports, which is amateurism. Ed O'Bannon said, I wanted to get the NCAA to at least admit they were wrong in using former players' likenesses for profit, and that would eventually branch off into current players owning their likeness and why they should. The case ended with the court changing some of the scholarship rules for the NCAA, such as full course of attendance scholarships, to athletes, and covering cost of living expenses that were not currently a part of the NCAA scholarships. Also, that college be permitted to place as much as $5,000 into a trust for each athlete per year of eligibility. This lawsuit was one of the first stretches that pushed the payment of college athletes because the NCAA is profiting because of them. Without the athletes performing, does the NCAA really even make any money? The NCAA, or National Collegiate Athletic Association, is a nonprofit organization that generates roughly $1 billion per year. They're separated into three divisions, 1, 2, and 3. Division 1 has more than 6,000 teams and more than 170,000 players that compete. Then to add on Division 2 and 3, that's a lot of people to account for. Most of these student athletes have dreams of going professional, but only about 2% of them make it to the pros in reality, which means that they're spending 4 to 5 years of collegiate eligibility playing sports for fun without payment. The NCAA signs deals with television networks, sponsorships, and they must pay each school somewhat depending on their performance. It is said that athletes can't be paid because it will take away from television deals. There are students out there who dedicate the same amount of time out of class on activities such as clubs, but they don't get paid. So why should athletes get paid when many of them are already receiving full scholarships? Being a student can be stressful, and then to add on being a full-time athlete for your school can add much more stress, but getting paid will not relieve that stress. Paying them will only make them seem more of as not students than they're already viewed. They're not viewed as real students now, and paying them will only add on to that issue because they'll be getting paid while other students who attend the same school will not, just because they're not athletes. But let's just say they did get paid. How would that work? Would star players be paid more? When will they be paid? How do you determine who's a star player and who's not? Or will everybody receive the same amount of money? There are many things that attribute to the reasoning of why players should not be paid. But on the other hand, I'll tell a story. Stanford's superstar tailback, 2017 Heisman Trophy runner-up Bryce Love, was a no-show at Pac-12 Media Day, which he skipped so he can go to class. Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports reports that Love, a human biology major, excused his media day absence by saying he's trying to graduate in December. Hence, he made the unwise choice of signing up for more summer classes. And hence, he decided that going to class that day was more important than actually beating at Pac-12 Media Day. He Skyped in, but that just wasn't the same. This should have been uplifted behavior, especially if we're going off of what Love is characterized as, and that is a student athlete. But instead, it was deemed a bad precedent, as the economist Damon Jones, a Stanford grad, put on Twitter. If you demand professionalism, pay professional salaries. This is a clear indication that college athletes are worth more than a regular student, sad to say. Love was scorned for attending class over his sports media day. Given that he was a star player on his team and a star player in the entire NCAA Division I football, he is a student before he's an athlete. And if they expect him to be professional about his sports matters, then he should be reaping some benefit from that, which should be payment. Many universities sell various jerseys at their team stores, but student athletes don't get a portion of that money, even though it's selling because of their performance. You can't sell a jersey without the player who wears the jersey. There are many sports fans. Some attend sporting events because they're diehard fans of the school or diehard fans of the sport. Some go to the events to see certain players perform. Either way, the school makes profit from ticket sales, and the players are those who bring the fans in. Coaches at the top Division I men's basketball schools on average earn an annual salary of $3 million. Given that they do bring the talent into the program by scouting and whatnot, what if the athletes don't perform? What if they get injured, or what if they just have a bad year? Well, if that did happen, the school will be funded less money by the NCAA, and they'll just get an overall bad look, especially on the coach. But if the athletes perform very well, then the NCAA may fund them more money the next year, and publicity for the school will go up. So in a sense, the student athletes have a strong grip over the coach, although the coach is who coaches them. And this is another reason why student athletes should be paid. There was a $10.8 billion deal between the NCAA and CBS for March Madness, which is the men's Division I basketball tournament, for 2011 to 2024, which is only 3 weeks of the entire year, which was then extended to 2032 for an extra $8.8 billion in 2016. What if they took $1 billion out of that deal to pay the athletes? I don't think much would happen. Lawsuits have been brought up against the NCAA because they have been profiting off the likeliness of athletes, and one person was fed up. They sell jerseys and other apparel with players' names on it. Players are put into video games, and thousands and perhaps even millions of dollars are made without these players receiving $1 out of that. A possible solution to all this would be to simply just let players profit off the likeliness of their name. Or if you can't find a way to pay each athlete fairly just on being an athlete. But the NCAA thought that making athletes' scholarship package cover more things would fix the issue. Every year, some athletes go into their first year of college knowing they won't learn anything and that they will be only spending 1 year there to go pro the next year. Yet, the school wastes hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarship just to house them for that 1 year. I think that's because the school knows that they'll profit from these players, and without them, they'll be missing out on potential money. That's why I think college athletes should be paid.